Good morning from Big Sky Country. I'm Stacy, owner of Montana Used Bricks. And I just want to say happy Saturday. Usually I film these on Sunday and I'm in a rush to get everything done, but I'm actually a little bit ahead this weekend. Plus we have a lot going on today. Later today we're going to be going to the Montana Brewers Association Brew Fest. My husband is really into craft beer. I'm not so much, but I go for his sake, and we spend several hours sampling brews and catching up with friends and just having a good time. So I'm looking forward to that, but I thought I would get this video out first. I do want to thank everybody who's taken the time to subscribe to my channel. I now have over 185 subscribers, which I'm very excited about because it means that people are actually watching the videos, so it makes it worthwhile to do these every week. I also want to thank everybody who not only took the time to subscribe, but also took the time to leave comments. And this week I actually had quite a few good comments come my way, and I did want to respond to a couple of them and just explain a couple of things more in depth. That's basically what this video is going to be about this week. Quite honestly, I am running out of video ideas. So if there's anything that I haven't gone over that you would be interested in hearing more about, please leave a comment, because I would love the opportunity to answer any questions or elaborate on anything I haven't already gone over. So I'm going to be looking down because I have all my notes down here, so don't think that I'm avoiding eye contact, which I kind of am today for some reason. Okay, so the first question came from, or comment came from Brick Arena, and he was watching a short video I did on double checking a 500 part order. I did a time-lapse photography of me double checking it, and he had this comment to say, "Wow, that is a real time drain. In my opinion, you need to trust your first pick and correct afterwards if there are issues." And generally for smaller orders, we do that. We just pull them, bag them, and ship them. But with large orders, when we have orders of over probably 200, 250 parts, we do double check them. And usually what we'll do is my husband helps me with the business. So either one of us will pull it and then the other one will double check. Usually he'll pull it because he's a lot faster at pulling parts. I haven't figured out what his secret is, but he's a lot faster at pulling those larger orders than I am. He'll double check them, or he'll pull them, and then I'll get them and I'll double check it and bag it as I go. So we don't do it for every order, but we do it for quite a few, because we do make mistakes, and we make really stupid mistakes, like grabbing the wrong color, getting the wrong amount, even getting into the wrong drawer and pulling the right color of a completely wrong part. Double checking it just keeps it so we don't have to worry about making a mistake. Every time I do make a mistake or I'm short a part, my heart always drops, because my first thought is, oh my gosh, this person's going to leave me a negative feedback. If there is an issue, and I know there's going to be an issue, I immediately contact the seller and let them know. But this double check is more for our peace of mind. And yes, it is a time drain. And if you only have one person working in your store, I can see how doing that would be of a pain. But for us, it's more just a peace of mind. So we're willing to take that extra time to do that. I did a video where I talked about creating a wanted list. And Ashley Johnson had this comment. She said, "Thank you, this was really good to watch. Can only sellers on Bricklink have inventory lists saved?" I'm pretty sure that you can still have a store where you can have all your inventory on Bricklink. You just don't open your store. And it is a really great way to keep track of your inventory, also keep track of where your inventory is if you're using the remarks. And it makes it a lot easier for you to see which parts that you have that might be on your wanted list. You can use that. You can also use I want to say Brick Stock. No, it's Brick Store. Also use Brick Store. And I believe you can use Rebrickable for that. It's been years since I've used Rebrickable, but I believe you can also use Rebrickable to kind of keep track of your inventory of parts. When my husband and I first started getting into Lego, we used Rebrickable to put our parts in to see what sets we could build and what parts we were missing to build those sets. So that's also a great way to keep track of your inventory. If anybody watching this has a program or software that they use to keep track of their Lego parts, some sort of inventory management system, please leave it in the comments because I'm sure others would be interested in looking into that as well. On my food for thought video number 2, there was a comment about the light gray and light bluish gray bricks. This is what Thomas Hayes had to say. One of the greatest goose-ups I've ever received as a Bricklink buyer is the gray bricks. I have found that the best method to determine the proper gray is to shine a flashlight onto it when in a dimly lit room. The gray hue manifests itself readily. In my inventory, I stock only light bluish gray and dark bluish gray bricks and parts, but when I'm building a mock late at night, I use flashlight at times. The oddball grays show up pretty easily. And I agree that especially with the light bluish gray and the light gray, you have to have the right lighting to tell those apart. My husband and I found out early on that LED lights are the best for that. So we both had LED desk lamps that we used when we were sorting parts or looking through parts to make sure that we were telling the difference between the two. When we built our shop in 2017, we specifically made sure that we had LED lights put in so that we could readily tell those parts apart to make sure we could tell the difference. But I totally agree, those parts are the worst, trying to figure out what is what. But I have found that with the light gray parts, we actually sell quite a few of those, so I'm happy to take the time to tell them apart. So my video last week I did about another big haul, I had quite a few comments about my cleaning process, which I thought was interesting because that's not what the video was about, but it made me realize that maybe I should have just done a video on cleaning the Lego. And here are just a couple of the comments that were made about the process that I use. The first one comes from Mike07 Gaming DK. He made the comment, it's sometimes a bad idea to put them out in direct sunlight because it yellows the Lego. Agreed. Totally agree. But the Lego aren't out there for very long. When I dry them outside, I put them on a towel and they're only out there for a couple hours, just long enough to dry them. I do go out and kind of run my hands over them to kind of mix them up a little bit and get the extra water off throughout the day or throughout the couple of hours. There's been a couple of times they've been out there all day, so it's possible I faded a couple of white parts in that process. But I'm not too worried about it because, like I said, it's usually only out there for a couple hours, just long enough to get them dry. I was one of the stupid people that believed the hydrogen peroxide trick, which does work temporarily, but I found out later because I did that with a bunch of parts that I used for a set I was building, and all of a sudden my set was just totally yellowed and I couldn't figure out why. And so I did a little bit more research and found out that, yeah, that's just a temporary trick. So for those of you that don't know, if you go out and Google or look on YouTube on how to get the yellow out of Lego parts, they'll tell you that you can put the parts in hydrogen peroxide and set that in the sun for a day, and that will get them back to white. And it does. They're very white, but they quickly yellow and they will become even more yellowed than what they were before. I had to actually go through my inventory and pull out probably half of my white parts because I thought I was being smart and getting them white, and I wasn't. So I lost half of my white inventory because of this trick. So don't do it. If a white part becomes yellowed and you can't get it white by natural means like dish soap or scrubbing it or whatever, then I would just throw it out. The next question was from King's Peak Creations, and he said, do you just soak the parts, drain and dry? It seems like I have to use a toothbrush to get all the yuck between the studs. For the stuff that I had in this big Lego haul, within all the containers, there was pieces of drywall plaster, and that plaster dust got all over the parts. So they looked dirty, but they were really just dusty. So just washing them and kind of agitating the water every couple of hours and just letting them soak got most of that dirt and dust off of them. There are still a few parts that I will have to use a toothbrush on, particularly the base plates, because in between the studs is still dirty and dusty, so I will have to use the toothbrush on them Generally, when I'm sorting them, if I notice they're dirty, I will toss them aside, and then they get another check when I actually go to put them into inventory. And if they're still dirty at that point, then I will put them aside and they'll get washed, and usually with a toothbrush and just a little bit more careful wash. A lot of times they'll come clean, sometimes they don't, and then they get put into the bin that I'll resell later. The last comment I want to comment on is from StingBrick5. He just made the comment, or she, I keep saying he, it could be a she. I love the use of the wastebasket strainer. And you'll notice, especially during my big oops, that I use a metal mesh wastebasket to pour the parts into to kind of be able to shake off some of the water. This is not something I thought up on my own. When I was watching videos on how to wash bulk Lego, I noticed that somebody else was doing this, and I thought it was an awesome idea, and so I stole that idea. I use those mesh waste baskets for just about everything. I actually use them for actual waste baskets as well, but I use them to strain when I'm doing the bulk washing, but I also use them when I'm sorting. If you watch my sorting video, you'll see that I toss parts into a basket, and that's the basket that I'm tossing the parts into. I have a total of 6 of them. 2 of them are being used as actual waste baskets. Right now, 2 of them have parts that I have sorted through, and then 2 of them are just used for whenever I need them, like when we're doing the bulk washing. It was a pretty good investment. I had bought 2, and then I bought a 4-pack on Amazon, and they were relatively cheap, so it was well worth the money. This was my commenting on comments videos. Again, I want to thank everybody who's taken the time to watch my videos, to comment on them, to subscribe. It means a lot to me. If you have any additional questions or you have ideas for videos I can do in the future, please leave them in the comments, because I'm always looking for new ideas. I almost did another food for thought video today, because there have actually been quite a few things that have come up on the Facebook group for Bricklink that I thought were really interesting. So I may be doing a food for thought video again next week already. I was trying to just do those once a month, but they come up with some pretty good things to talk about, so I may end up doing that again next week. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you really liked it, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.